Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of What's That Whiskey here on Drums and Drams. My name's Cameron, and yes, I'm already a few pours deep at this point. I've been filming some review videos tonight, and I'm actually kind of losing my voice a little bit. So what better time to test my blind tasting abilities than right now when I am absolutely in peak form? So what we have in today's video is a blind head-to-head between these two samples. Now, these were sent in by a very close friend of the channel, PinkDan, so thank you, Dan, for sending these my way. Dan sent me a box many months ago, and every sample was labeled A, B, C, D, all the way up here to J and K, as you can see. Now, I don't know if J and K is a coincidence to be put into this blind, or if there's like some sort of joke, that we'll find out at the end. And if you don't know how this What's That Whiskey video series works, basically I'm going to not only review both of these whiskeys, I'm going to tell you, in this case, because it says head-to-head on the reveal card, I'm going to tell you which one's my favorite. But I'm also going to make some guesses along the way. Proof, age, distillery type of whiskey, whether or not I think it's finished, and a bottle guess as well. You're gonna find out way before I do. You're gonna find out on the screen what is in either of these two glasses as I nose and taste them. I'm gonna find out at the end, again, by cutting open this reveal card, and we'll find out how right or how wrong I was. So it's a little bit of a review, a little bit of a guessing game, and I'm interested to see if J and K is a coincidence, if it's a joke, whatever the case may be, and we're gonna find out what Dan has sent my way. Now, here's the deal. Both of these are fairly dark whiskeys. They're pretty much the same color. I held them up to the light just before this video started. So that makes me think probably high proof, probably decent age, and probably an American whiskey, maybe even finished, because you get a nice color from that as well. But let's see, let's go to the nose of glass J first and see what we get. All right, so glass J is very intense. It's like classic Kentucky bourbon. Immediately my mind goes to Heaven Hill. There's like a hint of a nuttiness in there, but mostly it's just this nicely saturated, nicely concentrated profile, very caramel driven, nice oak going on in there. This one is not particularly fruity. I get a lot of woodiness to this and a lot of spice, but again, it feels extremely classic. I'm not trying to guess everything right off the bat here, but like the one thing that stands out to me, besides decent age, decent proof, is the fact that this really feels like a Heaven Hill product to me, just right off the rip. And before I take a sip of that glass, I'm just gonna go over to sample K now. We're gonna nose this, and then we'll go ahead and put them side by side on the palate. So let's go to the nose now on this sample K. All right, so man, these are like very similar on the nose with just some subtle differences. And this is probably Dan messing with me, right? This is probably him playing some sort of trick. Maybe like a similar product, maybe the same product, different batch. Maybe even same product, different laser code. Who knows? Because we're really, for me, in Heaven Hill territory right now. But yeah, like I would not put it past him to be giving me like 2 batches of Elijah Craig barrel proof, or maybe like 2 barrel picks of high proof, decently aged Heaven Hill from some NDP. But I don't know who that would be. At the end of the day, though, on glass, or rather sample K, I get a little bit more fruit, a little bit more sweetness, and it's just ever so slightly more relaxed on the nose. But again, I feel like we're in that same territory, like maybe around 125-ish proof for both of these. Maybe like the first one was like 130 and the next one's like 125. And then the age does feel similar, like 10 to 12 year Heaven Hill. So that's kind of where I'm at on the nose. Again, very similar, both smell great. Right off the rip, $100 easy I would pay for both of these. And that price might even go up on the palate as we kind of dig a little bit deeper. But now it's time to check these out on the palate. So let's go glass J, or sample J now. Wow, so sample J is incredibly delicious, and it has a ridiculously long finish. I think my proof guess, like around like 125, 130, I think that's spot on. I think this might even be a little bit hotter than that because the finish is going on for so long. There's a lot of like really prickly spice, almost bordering on chili pepper spice a little bit. It's actually fairly dry in the finish. That's kind of my one knock on this. It has a lot of like dry, toasty oak. I don't think this is like a toasted barrel or double oak product, but it does have like a lot of oak intensity on the back end. Feels decently aged as well. Like I said, 10 to 12. I could see this being 11 to 13, maybe 14 at most, because it still retains a lot of like not youthful, but like, I'm just gonna use the word, but it's not the right word. Youthful energy. Like it has a lot of energy, this bourbon does. And to that end, to that point, I think it is a bourbon. I don't think it's a rye or anything. I don't think it's finished. But it's very delicious. It's got a lot of oak spice on this one though. And it's not just like the nose. I don't think this is particularly fruity. So with that said, I mean, price point on this, like just guessing blind, I'd probably pay up to like 150 bucks. I think this is really good. I still absolutely believe this could be and probably is an Elijah Craig barrel proof. And it feels like a pretty good batch, but it doesn't feel like an old school batch. So let's go to sample K now. Let's go to the palate for this one and see, if the nose holds true where it feels a little softer, maybe a little bit fruitier. Here we go. All right, so right away, the difference is clear. Like the backbone of both of these products feels the same, but this glass, maybe it's because I just drank them side by side, one after the other, but this glass has a little bit more fruit. This is more like vanilla and raspberry, almost like raspberries and cream, I guess. Yeah, I think raspberry is the right note. Some people might say cherry, but it's definitely not brighter. It's definitely not like strawberry or anything like that, but a little bit more raspberry, a little bit more sweetness, easier drinking, and less spice, and certainly less dryness than the first glass. Now here's the thing. In a situation like this is kind of the problem, I guess, of tasting whiskey side by side. Like on one hand, it's good that you get the experience of using one whiskey to help define the other. What I mean is like if this one's really honey forward and this one's really cherry forward, that's gonna show up even more clearly in a side by side comparison. But the problem is when you drink them one after the other, sometimes they can build on one another and it can be deceptive. Like the second glass can feel spicier than the first, when in reality, it's just a buildup of intensity on your palate because you're drinking them, sequentially and you're not leaving enough time between those sips. So it can either build up or it can be the other way. It's like sometimes you drink something really intense and then the next thing that you sip feels way flatter because of that proof disparity between two things. Now for these, I feel like they're very similar proof points. Maybe the fact that this drink's so much easier is just a sequencing thing. So I'm gonna go back the other way now, start with glass K and then go to glass J. But the reason I'm talking so much about this, the sequencing thing and the effect it can have as far as your proof perception is number one, because I'm trying to guess proof right now in this video. But number two, I think these are very closely related products. Like I am now firmly in the camp that these are Elijah Craig barrel proofs. I'm firmly in the camp that both of these are modern releases because they don't have any dusty butterscotch or any of those dustier notes from earlier batches. And I have a weird choice to make, like a weirdly specific choice. I jokingly said something about laser codes earlier, and I kind of think this could be a C923 laser code thing. Like it's that close. Now it could be, I don't know, B524 and C924. Absolutely, it could be a comparison like that. But this has a certain quality to this. So all these factors in my head are coming together right now where I feel like maybe this is the exact same product. I don't know, so I have to taste them in reverse order now. So sorry to monologue so much, but you can kind of get the feeling from my thought process as I'm going through this. Let me go now back to glass K. Here we go. So this is kind of a perfect example of what I was just talking about. So after talking for several minutes there between the sip I just took and the previous sip of sample K, the drinking experience was a little bit different. Like this most recent sip felt more intense, it felt proofier, and I think that's because there was more time and I wasn't sequencing, one after the other like that. So it still maintains its additional fruitiness, I think, and its additional vanilla that I'm getting. But for me, the proof now feels just as spicy and intense as sample J, which is leading me even further now down this rabbit hole of maybe I'm dealing with two laser codes of Elijah Craig C923, and maybe the whole JK thing is Dan's funny way of getting me back with this to pick a favorite of these two. So we'll find out, but I gotta go now. One more sip of glass J before I make my final guesses. Okay, so right away on glass J, again, huge similarities, but this does have more intensity. It's a little bit drier. It's a little bit spicier and a little bit woodier. I can't not guess this now because I'm I've talked myself into it. I think these are both Heaven Hill, as I said from the very start. I think they're both really high proof. I had originally said like 130, 125. Because I'm gonna make this bottle guess and I'm gonna put all my eggs in one basket, I'm gonna say 133 proof because I think that's what C923 was. I'm gonna say 13 years, 7 months on the age. Although I will say this, even though I'm going down this rabbit hole of C923, I don't feel like these totally, if they are C923, I don't think they totally drink like 13 year, 7 month products. And so I could hedge my bet, on this guess and say, oh, it's 11 and a half or 12 year. I'm gonna just go fully onto the bottle guess though and say 13 years, 7 months, non-finished bourbon. I think that's pretty much all I need to guess. So I've got my knife here. It's time to see just how tricky Mr. PinkDan was. Here we go. Oh, before I do this reveal, I guess if I'm calling their laser codes, I guess I should make a guess as to which one is which. So I would guess, because of the extra fruitiness of Glass K, I would say that's an A23 laser code, which was my preference, and it's my preference here too. And then Glass J, I would say, is an A22 laser code, which I felt was a little bit spicier and a little bit drier, and I actually criticized it in my initial review. So there we go. I haven't looked yet. Now it's time to look. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my God. This is actually... All right, I'm gonna get accused of all sorts of stuff on this. This is legitimately, I mean, you guys know this already. You saw it on the screen. These are both C923 with 2 different laser codes. And I said this one, I said K was A23 and K is A23. Wow. Okay, listen. I know I was a few pours deep going into this. Felt like I was losing my voice. I was having a hard time shooting all the videos before this. Just nothing was going very well. And this is a nice little pick-me-up. I will say that. So yeah, I think this is interesting, right? Like talking about the sequencing, talking about how these things are kind of playing off one another, and the spice versus the proof and the dryness versus the fruit, like all the things that I was talking myself through in this video and kind of getting I was kind of monologuing on my process of going through it. Like it all makes sense now why I was thinking that. And also, it's kind of rare that you look at 2 whiskeys side by side like this and the colors are exactly the same. I know I didn't do that in the video. I did that right before, like I put these down, I turned the cameras on, and in the very beginning of this, which won't be in here because it's before I synced up the audio and everything, like I held them up to the light in front of me and they were the same color, and that's very rare. And so already in my brain, I'm like, is this a trick? Like, would it be the same whiskey? It is, but it isn't, because you guys know about all the laser codes. We don't need to rehash all the laser code stuff, but this is very funny. Dan, you got me with your JK. It's hilarious, but I got you back with the guesses. And so, yeah, I can probably wrap up my filming tonight and end on a high note here. So thank you guys for checking this out. Like, comment, subscribe. A23 laser code. Still the fruitier, sweeter, easier drinking, best one. I'm gonna stand by that, and that's gonna do it. Cheers, and I'm gonna wrap up with a final sip of Sample K. I'll see you guys soon here on Drums and Drams.